What are we doing? What? You're silly. Hey everybody. Welcome to Jekyll at Home. This is Kaya, in case you didn't know. We're going to talk about some gardening today. How's that sound? Does that sound good, Kai? Yeah. It's a good day for it. Good girl, Molly. Good girl, Kaya. Boy, you look like a ragamuffin, you know that. So this was an old swing set that was at the house when we first got here. And it's been repurposed. At first it was repurposed into wood stacking area. And now it's going to be, because I've got a fence here, this can grow along the gourd garden, at least part of it. So I'm pretty excited. I'm going to try and do one more area here. One more big, I think I'm going to build it out of wood and not mess with hundreds of nuts and bolts, and do a bean garden. So this will be the last area right here for the beans in about a month. And then I should be done for the year. Today we're going to be doing a little planting. We're going to be starting some seeds because it's finally late enough in the season where I can start seeds outside. I don't have the space or the requirements that I need to start seeding inside yet. Working on that, but that's probably a couple of years down the road, or a greenhouse. But I think we've had the last frost that we're going to have. I've got a bunch of tomato plants. I've got a bunch of beans. I've already got some stuff in the ground that's already coming up. The squash was planted by seed a couple weeks ago, and I had some zucchini from North Carolina, but this is from Baker Creek and some other various places. But I'm going to show you how I do it today, and then we're going to take a look at the garden. You eating some grass? Always the ever-present weed eater. Dogs are omnivorous, so I can't be mad at that. I am trying to take a more holistic approach to gardening this year. I've expanded the garden exponentially. It's a lot bigger than it was, and I've even got some dedicated squash space. Doing a lot of stuff from seed this year, but I can't pass up a good sale either. So at Home Depot this morning, you can't eat those. You cannot eat those. Don't stop, give it back. At Home Depot this morning, they have the Black Friday of springtime. So I picked up these 4 pots, which are normally about 20 bucks a piece. I picked them up for $5 each. So that's $20 right there. 5, 10, 15, 20. I also picked up Miracle Grow soil. Now they do use some synthetic fertilizers in there, but not many. You can look at the list on the bag. But I got 10 bags. They're 5 for 10. So that's 20 bags. I'm sorry, that's 10 bags for 20 bucks. And how much can 10 bags do? Well, you saw that I filled all 4 of those. I've topped off with fresh soil a lot of my herb and single container pots. Molly is helping now. She's in the garden today. So it goes a long way. So for 20 bucks, you can get a whole lot of soil. And it's just this weekend only. So today is somewhere around April 9th, I want to say. It's Thursday, so maybe it's the 10th. But 5 for 10. can't beat that deal. It's a really good deal. And it did 4 full containers, big pots, and topped off all of my container pots with fresh soil. And I have 2 bags left, which I'm going to be using for these today. So you can see that I've already got the squash and stuff. This is Baker Creek heirloom seeds. I planted squash and then a huge zucchini that I actually caught on the river with a buddy of mine, Kelly Barefoot, in North Carolina last year. They're still reeling from Hurricane Helene and lots of cleanup to go. But it was really good times and I have good memories from that. So the squash is in, but I've got all these tomatoes and beans that I need to do today. I've got some lettuce in and I need to start rotation for week 4, and I'll show you what weeks 1 and 2 look like. But the focus here is tomato seedlings, and I think we've finally gotten past the last frost of the season. It was the last couple of nights and we're on a warming trend. It's the middle of April, so we should be okay. You'll notice that these wintered over there on my little makeshift. Just about everything is repurposed here. So on my little makeshift bench, everything came from somewhere else, but hardly any of it was purchased new. I like to repurpose as much as I can. But you'll notice that this wintered and collected a lot of leaves. That's actually fine, especially for seedlings, because they don't take up that much space. And the leaves and everything, you just got to make sure there's no like gumballs. We have a lot of sweet gum trees. The leaves will compost into themselves in these containers. So there's some that have 2. I just saved these from probably 4 years ago when I first moved in and didn't have any seeds saved up from Arkansas. I had a huge garden in Arkansas. I didn't have that yet here in Georgia. So I did buy some seedlings the first year I was here. Since then, it's all seeds. I would say 85 to 90% of what I do is from seed. And so far, so good. These guys help me wherever they can. I think they're on mouse patrol right now. It's entirely possible. You guys let me know if you get anything. Here's something interesting over here. That's a peach tree, and with the mint. Yeah, that's a peach tree. And this came from Mrs. Johnson's, one of the places that I love to go fishing. So this was their most productive tree, and it had dropped some fruit, and this was one of the saplings from last year. Or if you say sapling, it's seedling, I guess, not sapling. Maybe sapling, I don't know. Hey, don't eat that. No. It's peach tree. Oh, you're eating this. Chewing on some peppermint sticks. That's fine. Good for your breath. So yeah, everything's doing pretty well here, but let's get started on some seeds. So for this, we're basically going to take just a little bit of soil and fill these partially, and then just drop a couple of, maybe 3 to 4 seeds in each one, maybe a little bit more, depends on how many are in here. But normally I like to plant more seeds than fewer, and then I can thin them out once the stronger seeds kind of take root, because they'll grow and you'll notice a difference within like a couple of weeks once they've sprouted. So let's get started. So this is a pretty easy process because, again, you don't really need a whole lot going into this. And you just take a little bit of soil and then just dropping it into each cup. And again, you don't need a whole bunch of soil because the roots will stay shallow and then we'll replant them. But it is okay to keep those leaves. It's actually good to keep those leaves right there. Finish getting all these. And I like to leave some space in here, especially if we have cooler temperatures, because the sun will warm up this dirt, this nice dark brown dirt, and then it'll kind of stay insulated just a bit if we don't fill it all the way up. And the more protection early on, even though I'm in North Georgia, I'm still in the mountains. So the more protection that I can give from my seedlings, the better off we are. you'll notice in these packets, there's not a whole lot of seeds in there to begin with. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and drop everything in. And then I'm gonna separate them once they're in there, just a little bit. A little bit of chaos gardening here. And then I'm gonna cover them over, water them in real good. And then, like I said before, as they start to grow, the stronger ones will be noticeable within a few weeks. So I'll thin them out. That's a great way to start. I also want to know what I'm growing, so I am going to leave the tops of these in the containers. So now this is a brief rundown of everything that's been planted in the tomato and bean line. Everything's been labeled. We've got Napa Chardonnay, Cherokee Purples, Rosenthal, Roloise, Blush Tigers, 2 of those because they're small, Black Beauties, Purple Cherokees, Purple Calabash, Pink Bumblebee, Black Strawberry Tomatoes, Rascal Barking. Yep, that's him. Let's see, this one is a Black Brandywine, another Cherokee Purple, and a Sunrise Bumblebee back here. For beans, we've got Jade, Dragon Tongue, Derby beans, Purple TP, Holstein cowpeas, which I'll show you those in a second. Those are super cool. So cowpeas are like, what are those? Sort of like black-eyed peas. And then we've got Kahari melons, which are beautiful. That is this one. And then we have the Prescotts, which are these for melons. Super sweet fruit, very small, but very delicious. And the cowpeas. What do cowpeas look like? You've had black-eyed peas. They're very similar. We have some extra. Kaya, you're not planting. No? Come on, give it back. Kaya. Who told you could plant? I also added some Russian red kale, nasturtium, Swiss chard. Nasturtium and Swiss chard look very similar in their seed pods. And now we're watering, and Rascal likes to play. He's good at playing. It's his favorite game. I hear him. I don't see him. Rascal. Boy. Gotta water everything in, buddy. You can choke yourself out, buddy. So we have 4 broccoli plants, 2, 3, and 4. We've got more kale here and Rascal. This is a little kind of impromptu Rascal herbal bed. Do you want to tell the story? Yeah? Okay, here, a little more water. Good boy. Okay, all right. And because he's barking uncontrollably, I'll probably just tell the rest of the story in a voiceover. So this is pretty much what's left over from staging. I start everything from seed just about, with the exception of a few tomatoes this year. Everything is seeded. This is pretty cool. Clematis, it's getting ready to bloom. Looks like I'll have 3 or 4 blooms to start out. And then 1 of 2 areas of bird feed. These are all Black Prince tomatoes. And then that's a Black Beauty. That's a Black Prince. That is a different butterfly bush. Easter lilies, which haven't bloomed yet, but they will. That is an early girl and a super sweet 100 back there, a couple of them. Another butterfly bush, which is a really deep, deep purple, really pretty, but hasn't gotten as big as that one. And this one's older. I moved this one from Arkansas. One of the few things that I moved. And then that one I didn't, but we'll get to it. Sage. This is 3-year sage. It's been growing, and it looks like it's getting ready to put out a flower. I've never seen sage bloom, but I guess we're getting ready to, so that's pretty cool. Didn't know that could happen. And it looks like the chives from last year wintered over well. Look at how pretty that is. Love it. The fig has come back strong. This one's struggling. Don't know if this one's going to make it, but I think there's a little bit of new growth here. A little bud, maybe. Hard to say. This one, however, is doing really well. This is a 2-year. And tomatoes. More sage. This sage isn't blooming, though. Yeah, it's crazy. I've never known sage to bloom. And this, some sort of cocoon. I don't know that I like the looks of that. And then this is the expansion set. This is the tomatoes and the 2 raised beds. So I've got a variety of lemons, goldens, bush, and big tomatoes, and another heritage raspberry. We have lots of strawberries and shh, don't tell anybody. That's the first one. Yay, strawberries. So awesome. Hopefully the birds don't find that. I'm thinking about doing netting over this, but they're doing exceptionally well. I've got another one right there started. Oh, look, and another one. Awesome. These plants are banging. Bumping strawberries. They look really good. Over here, accompanying plants, flowering. So pretty though, look at that. This is cabbage, collards, curly kale of the grocery store variety, but started by me. Blueberries. Look at that. Actual, honest to goodness, blueberries. Blueberry, flowering plants for accompanying. And I got bit the hell out of by some fire ants when I was at the garden earlier. Lots of onions. The potatoes are over on this side. These are the 2 asters that'll be flowering any moment. 2 more broccolis, which will probably get just as big as the others, and you probably can't see it, others being the ones that were on my porch. But these are the carrots starting to come up. Right there. And I've got rows of them, and they'll get thinned a little bit. Not too bad. I didn't thin many of them last year, and I got an awesome crop. And then all of this on this side, separated kind of by this, but maybe a little further, there's carrots and herbs. So I did the herbs on this side last year, but this is much deeper, so it's a much better root area. So potatoes, onions, carrots, and all the herbs. The kitchen garden. This zucchini from a trip that I took with Kelly Barefoot last year. That's all that. And then various squashes that'll get thinned out. And they don't take very long to germinate. You can see the seeds still on them. That's pretty cool. But yeah, they just do their thing. Pretty neat. More squash and melon. They'll be thinned, and I'm just kind of gonna let this organically, chaotically grow. So we'll see how big it gets this year. But this part of the ground is, and you can probably see it, you can start seeing it here where it's super squishy. I have a spring that runs under this yard, and it goes from right about here. You can kind of see the path that it takes right down there, and it's super wet. That's another area where I really don't have to water until it gets into the super hot months, because we get tons of rain here. And then I've got beefsteak tomatoes here. So, pretty good. It's a lot bigger of a garden. The biggest I've had yet.